Okay, so tonight, the second the sun goes down, you and I are going to do something that is just completely effortless. We'll walk into a room, flip a switch, and boom, the room explodes into light, almost like it was never even dark in the first place. And we don't think twice about it, right? It's an action so incredibly mundane, so baked into our everyday lives that we literally take it for granted. But that simple, quick little motion, it actually hides something almost unimaginable.
Because think about the ancient world. When the sun went down back then, the light didn't just gently dim, it vanished. We're talking about a darkness so absolute, so complete, that you literally wouldn't be able to see your own hand waving an inch in front of your face. Abruptly, the whole world you knew was just swallowed whole by the night. It's this deep, terrifying historical darkness that we, as modern humans, well, we barely ever experience it anymore. We've actually forgotten what true blackness looks like.
Which brings us to a pretty massive, unavoidable question. What did we actually do in the dark? How in the world did our ancestors spend these stolen hours of pitch black when they couldn't see, couldn't hunt, and couldn't travel? What happened to the human mind when the lights went out? And let me tell you, the answer doesn't just fill in some historical blank spot. It completely rewrites our understanding of who we are.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the forgotten human night.
We're essentially uncovering a lost history today, one that science is really just now starting to rediscover. Just wrap your head around this massive span of time. For over 300,000 years, every single ancestor you've ever had lived roughly half of their entire life inside that absolute darkness. Half of all human existence just playing out without any steady illumination. I mean, there were no street lamps, and for the vast majority of that time, not even candles. They had the night sky, some distant stars, and whatever fragile little flame they could somehow keep alive against the wind.
Just to put that scale into perspective, for 99.9% of human history, there were absolutely no light switches waiting on a wall. Zero. We are living right now in this tiny, glowing, artificial fraction of human existence. So to really understand our own biology, we have to look back at that vast, dark majority of our timeline and realize just how profoundly the night shaped us.
Section 1. Fire and the First Mind.
Naturally, everything begins with fire. The earliest solid proof we have of controlled fire by humans is from Wonderwork Cave in South Africa. We're talking roughly 1 million years ago. Before that initial spark, the night entirely belonged to whatever could see in it. And human vision in the dark? It is incredibly weak. Compared to nocturnal predators like leopards and hyenas, we were basically just blind prey. But a campfire? That changed the survival physics instantly. It created this glowing 30-foot ring of safety. Inside that boundary, you survived. Outside it, survival was completely uncertain. It pushed all the danger to the very edges of the light, which fundamentally reorganized our entire reality.
But here's the cool part. Fire didn't just keep the predators away, it literally changed what we talked about. Back in 2014, anthropologist Polly Weisner published some truly profound research on the Jew/Hawansi Bushman, and she found that during the daylight, 80% of all conversation was purely functional. Hunting plans, logistics, people complaining. But at night, sitting around the fire, a total 180. 81% of conversations suddenly shifted to storytelling. Myths, journeys, jokes, all of it started spreading through the group.
Firelight essentially handed humans 2 to 4 extra hours every single day. And Wisner argued that this storytelling around the fire wasn't just late-night entertainment. It was the literal birthplace of human culture. Think about it. The campfire became the first theater, the first classroom, the first shared mind. It was inside this glowing circle that humans finally had the safety and the time to learn to think beyond just immediate survival. They learned to imagine things that weren't physically right in front of their faces.
Section 2. The Mystery of Segmented Sleep.
So firelight wasn't the only massive transformation happening in the dark. It turns out science has recently rediscovered another incredible pattern. In 2001, historian Roger Eckrich uncovered over 500 historical references. I'm talking everything from personal diaries to medical texts, dating all the way back to the Odyssey, describing this fascinating, completely forgotten sleep pattern. Basically, before the industrial age, it was completely universal to naturally wake up in the middle of the night. People experienced what everyone back then just called first sleep and second sleep. They'd crash for about 4 hours shortly after sunset and then just naturally wake up for an hour or two. This wasn't considered weird or a struggle at all. It was literally just how human beings slept.
And we know for an absolute fact this isn't just some historical myth. In 1992, a psychiatrist named Thomas Word did this fascinating experiment. He put modern participants in 14 hours of daily darkness. And guess what? Within just a few weeks, their modern, continuous 8-hour sleep habits completely vanished. 100% of the participants reverted to this exact ancient rhythm. 4 hours of sleep, 1 to 3 hours awake, and then 4 more hours of sleep. The ancestral rhythm just snapped right back, almost as if it had been waiting patiently underneath all of our modern life, just waiting for the darkness to return.
But what's truly amazing is what actually happened during that waking window. Brain measurements from Weir's study showed highly elevated levels of a hormone called prolactin. So this middle-of-the-night waking wasn't the anxious, stressed-out tossing and turning of modern insomnia. Not at all. It was a biologically supported, deeply peaceful meditative state. Historically, people used this quiet time in the dark for prayer, study, quiet reflection, or, conception. It was this distinct state of calm consciousness that our modern society has just almost entirely lost.
Section 3. Erasing the darkness. So how exactly did we lose a sleep pattern that we relied on for hundreds of thousands of years? Well, we destroyed it with a deceptively simple invention and the rapid, unstoppable march of progress. In the 1600s, Paris introduced the very first streetlights. Then came cheaper candles, followed by gas lamps in the 1800s, and finally, boom, in 1879, the electric light bulb arrived. Within literally a single generation, that deep, rhythmic night that humans had known for millennia practically vanished from the civilized world. We entirely eliminated the true human night.
Honestly, we even forgot what the night used to mean to us. Take the word curfew. It actually comes from the medieval French phrase couvre-feu, which literally translates to cover the fire. Church bells would ring in town specifically to tell people to put out their flames. Night was strictly meant for sleep and, frankly, for vulnerability. Being out after dark was dangerous, and in a lot of places it was downright illegal. Night belonged to uncertainty and to rest. And then, well, we filled it with blinding light and called it progress.
But of course, that progress came with a massive biological toll. Today, we spend 7 to 8 hours a night just bathed in artificial light. When your retina is exposed to the blue light of a screen at 11 p.m., your brain is totally tricked into thinking the sun simply hasn't set yet. So that necessary release of melatonin, it gets delayed. Our sleep fractures. That delicate circadian rhythm, which was perfectly tuned over millions of years of evolution, simply breaks apart under the constant, heavy glare of our modern reality.
Section 4. Reclaiming our natural rhythm.
Now, here is the hopeful revelation in all of this data. Our ancient biological systems haven't just evolved out of us over the last century. They are merely suppressed. Studies have actually shown that returning to an environment without artificial light quickly restores our ancestral sleep hormones. Get this, just 1 week of camping, 1 single week away from screens and light bulbs, resets human melatonin cycles by nearly 2 hours. The body immediately begins producing sleep hormones at sunset again. It remembers exactly what to do the very second we let the darkness back in.
So what you should really take away from all of this is that we didn't just change our bedtimes. We accidentally erased an entire layer of the human experience. We took a peaceful, meditative pause, that quiet, reflective state between first and second sleep, and we pathologized it. We turned a perfectly natural human experience into a modern disorder that we now urgently try to cure with pills and stress. We call it insomnia.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. The next time you find your eyes snapping open in the dead of night, don't panic. Seriously, don't immediately reach for the glowing screen of your phone. Just ask yourself, what if waking at 2 a.m. isn't a disorder at all, or some failure of your body? What if, lying there in the quiet darkness, it's just a memory, a 300,000-year-old echo of the forgotten human night, just waiting for you to listen?